The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry has stated a bit earlier on the witness stand today, being suspended Deputy National Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya. Quite a lot being discussed around the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team. And of course, SABC News reporter Canny Maphanga has been following the proceedings at the Commission and joins us live just to give us a summation of what we've heard thus far. A very good afternoon to you, Canny. Focal point being the Political Killings Task Team, the disbandment thereof. Among some of what Shadrack Sibiya has stated is that when it comes to the National Commissioner, to a certain extent, he felt that he was aware of the imminent disbandment, went on to speak about a specific meeting in November of 2024 that he was aware. So specifically the statement around the National Commissioner saying that he was quite surprised that there was now going to be a disbandment would be one that would be false or untrue on his part. He was very much aware.
We'll get to that part of the testimony in just a bit. If we go back a bit earlier in this highly anticipated testimony, we saw that he started at 9:30 a.m. this morning, setting a foundation of his career in an attempt to give the Commission this kind of picture of the kind of scandals that have followed him throughout his career, which he attributes or seemingly attributes to alleged political motives, stating that this is a common occurrence where there is this systemic coordinated attack, and then he's able to return back to work. He lists several instances where this has taken place in his career, and he says that in this particular matter, or in this particular period, if we put it that way, in relation to the July media briefing and the allegations that place him in a key position in terms of these allegations of the alleged infiltration of cartel members in the criminal justice system. He says that this is the modus operandi which he painted in the foundation repeating itself yet again. However, the evidence that has to be given to the Commission to prove that is yet to be given by Shadrack Sibiya, but we are going through, I guess, the beginning of his statement where he goes right back to the PKTT, the disbandment directive, and of course his role in that particular events that followed. If you remember from the allegations that came in the phase one of the testimony, it was that Shadrack Sibiya basically took it upon himself to implement the directive by the Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, and the picture that we got is that he carried out the implementation without the consultation or approval of the Commissioner, National Commissioner, that is General Canny Maphanga. However, he is now giving us his version in an uninterrupted fashion before the deep questioning probing begins later on today or from tomorrow, and he's giving his evidence regarding what he says took place with respect to the implementation plan. So if we go back to the implementation plan, that's one of the first instances that are raised as the red flag, because the context of this PKTT is that it was closing in on these alleged cartel members that seemingly enjoyed beneficial relationships, allegedly with high-ranking SABC officials. And one of those such high-ranking SABC officials is alleged to be Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya, and we've heard evidence to that effect that ties him to a few of those alleged cartel members. So he brings up this disbandment directive. Actually, before he brings that up, he discusses the common theme that always comes up during the phase two of the testimony, that this was a task team and it was not supposed to exist indefinitely. And he brings up these documents to support the fact that these are provincial structures that only exist for a particular moment, and it was his view that shouldn't be focused on an elite team in the KZN province, but should be spread out in murder and robbery across the country. This now brings us to the implementation plan. So essentially what he's trying to say through his testimony and through the sequence of events that he has put before the Commission is that at all times General Canny Maphanga was aware of this particular implementation plan and had actually instructed him to do so. He attributes this to the communications, or rather the sequence of events with General Rabi, who is directly in the office of General Canny Maphanga. So this is to challenge or provide a counterversion to the claim that the disbandment directive came without anyone's knowledge and that he acted out of his own will in implementing it without consulting the National Commission, and of course disregarding the authority that General Canny Maphanga would have in terms of the implementation. So the picture that is being painted here by the witness on the stand is that at all times the two were together, because he says that he got the assistance from General Rabi in the office of the National Commissioner and that they were together in this effort to carry out, or rather put together or craft this implementation plan about how this particular PKTT would be winded down, or the structure would be closed down over some time in that implementation plan. So that sets the foundation of the kind of manner and approach in which Shadrack Sibiya is approaching the allegations. However, there are some themes that are going to be quite difficult for him to traverse, such as the exchanges of witness F that place him as an alleged middleman for him, and several other themes that will continue to be discussed over the next 4 days. We expect the Commission to return from the lunch adjournment at about 2 p.m., where he continues with that highly anticipated testimony.